Have you ever wondered what you would do if one single decision could save 12 lives? But destroy your own career forever? The wind screamed across the frozen mountains like a warning nobody wanted to hear. Snow covered every rock, every tree, and every abandoned road until the entire valley looked empty. But appearances could be dangerous. Hidden beneath the snow was a secret research station that no longer appeared on any public map. Officially, the facility had been shut down 6 years earlier. Unofficially, something was still alive inside. Commander Elena Brooks sat quietly inside the military transport helicopter. Around her, 12 special operators checked their equipment one last time. No one wasted words. Everyone understood the mission. Bring home Dr. Adrian Cross. Destroy anything that could not be recovered. Leave nothing behind. Across from Elena sat Sergeant Mason Reed, the team's sniper observer. He looked toward the tiny frost-covered window. Storm's getting worse. Elena nodded. Good. Mason looked surprised. Good. The weather hides us. It also hides them. She smiled slightly. That's why we're here. Near the front of the aircraft, Combat Medic Captain Rachel Hayes carefully inspected a silver medical container, secured inside her backpack. Lieutenant Noah Carter noticed it. What's inside? Rachel looked at him. Something I hope I never have to use. That doesn't answer my question. It isn't supposed to. Noah laughed quietly. You military doctors love mysterious answers. Rachel closed the container. No. We just know some answers scare people. The helicopter shook violently. The pilots fought heavy turbulence. Outside, visibility dropped below 100 meters. Colonel Victor Grant stood and activated a digital map projected onto the cabin wall. The room became silent. Our target is Black Ridge Research Facility. An image appeared. The building looked abandoned. Broken windows. Collapsed roofs. Rusted fences. But another image appeared immediately afterward. Underground tunnels. Power generators. Laboratories. Medical isolation units. Hidden storage rooms. Security checkpoints. This place was never abandoned, Victor said. They simply stopped telling the public it existed. Another picture appeared. A middle-aged scientist wearing glasses smiled awkwardly beside laboratory equipment. This is Dr. Adrian Cross. He developed an emergency medical prediction system capable of identifying disease outbreaks before hospitals become overwhelmed. Noah frowned. So he predicts epidemics? Among other things. What else? Victor paused. If someone used his research for war, entire countries could be crippled without firing a missile. Nobody spoke. That explained everything. The next image showed another man. Tall. Gray beard. Cold blue eyes. Former military uniform. Now dressed in black tactical equipment. This is Damien Voss. He once served this country. What happened? Mason asked. He decided money mattered more than loyalty. Victor changed the screen again. Satellite photos showed dozens of armed guards surrounding the facility. Voss kidnapped Dr. Cross 20 hours ago. They've already forced him to unlock part of the research archive. Rachel crossed her arms. Why hasn't he given them everything? Victor looked toward her. Because the final security code exists only in his memory. So they're keeping him alive. For now. Silence returned. Everyone knew what for now meant. Victor continued. Our intelligence believes tonight will be their final attempt. If they fail. He didn't finish. He didn't need to. Noah quietly whispered, they'll kill him. Victor nodded once. The helicopter descended lower. Warning lights glowed inside the cabin. 5 minutes. Every operator secured helmets. Night vision devices clicked into place. Weapons were loaded. Elena checked her rifle. One movement. Smooth. Automatic. Years of experience had turned every action into instinct. Mason leaned toward her. Nervous. I stopped feeling nervous a long time ago. So did I. They both knew they were lying. Rachel moved beside Elena. When this starts, it won't go according to plan. Elena looked at her. You sound confident. Rachel sighed. Medical rule number 1. If someone says everything will be fine, Prepare for disaster. The rear ramp slowly opened. A wall of freezing wind crashed into the cabin. Snow exploded inside. The jump master raised his hand. Green light. Go. Victor disappeared first. One by one the operators jumped into complete darkness. Elena followed. The freezing air wrapped around her immediately. There was no sound except roaring wind. No ground. No sky. Only darkness. Her altimeter counted downward. 3,000 feet. 2,500. 2,000. She pulled the parachute. The canopy opened violently. Far below, mountains slowly appeared through the storm. Tiny green lights from her teammates floated nearby. Everyone remained silent. Nobody used radios unless absolutely necessary. One mistake could reveal their location. Elena landed hard inside deep snow. She rolled, released the parachute, buried it beneath loose ice. Moments later, Mason landed nearby. I still hate parachutes. You complain every mission. One day I'll be right. They quickly regrouped with the rest of the team. Victor checked everyone's status. Move. The group disappeared into the forest. Only fresh snowfall covered their tracks within minutes. The climb lasted almost 2 hours. Every breath became painful. The cold reached inside gloves and boots. Nobody complained. Everyone focused on reaching the observation ridge. Finally, Victor raised a fist. Stop. The team crouched behind frozen rocks. Far below, Black Ridge Research Facility appeared. It looked abandoned from a distance. But through thermal optics, everything changed. Hidden heat signatures, moving guards, underground generators, fresh vehicle tracks. Elena adjusted her scope. I count 14 outside. Mason checked again. I've got 18. Rachel frowned. That's a big difference. No. Elena whispered. It's worse. What? They're using thermal blankets. Mason zoomed in. Several snow-covered piles suddenly stood up. They weren't snowdrifts. They were soldiers hiding beneath insulated camouflage. They expected someone. Victor quietly contacted headquarters. Possible ambush. Static answered. Then command replied. Satellite imagery shows normal activity. Elena kept watching. No. They're waiting. Victor listened carefully. You sure? She never looked away from the scope. I'd bet my life. The radio remained silent. Finally, headquarters answered. Continue the mission. Nobody liked that answer. Victor looked at Elena. What do you think? She took another slow breath. I think somebody already told them we're coming. The words froze everyone. An inside leak. The most dangerous possibility. Victor finally nodded. We continue. But everyone assumes this is a trap. One by one the operators acknowledged. No speeches. No dramatic premises. Just quiet professionalism. Far below. Inside the facility. A frightened scientist sat tied to a metal chair. His face showed bruises. Blood stained one sleeve. A small medical monitor around his neck flashed yellow. Across the room stood Damien Voss. He calmly poured himself a cup of coffee. You know, he said, I admire stubborn people. Dr. Adrian Cross slowly lifted his head. You should. Why? Because you'll never break them. Damien smiled. We'll find out. He placed a small electronic device onto the table. The final encryption. I need your voice. I'll never help you. Damien nodded. I expected that answer. He walked toward the laboratory window. Outside. Snow continued falling. Then one guard hurried inside. Sir. They're here. Damien smiled. Excellent. He looked back at Adrian. You see. I told you. They always come. He leaned closer. And tonight. They'll all die. Title. The Shot That Changed the Mission Forever script. Emma tightened the strap on her rifle and continued climbing through the freezing snow. Every step became harder as the wind pushed against her body. Ryan limped beside her, breathing heavily after the long run across the ridge. Neither of them knew that a silent drone was following from high above. Inside the command center of Black Ridge, Victor Kane watched a live thermal image. The red outline of two people moved. A countdown had started. 9:58. What is that? One technician examined the display. It's a self-destruct sequence. Everyone looked at the screen. 9 minutes. The entire underground facility would soon be destroyed. Colonel Hayes grabbed the radio. Emma, we found Mercer? No. But we've got something worse. What? The entire mountain is about to explode. Emma looked toward the distant research center. Smoke was already rising from underground ventilation shafts. Ryan stared in disbelief. If that countdown is real. Emma finished the sentence. Everyone inside dies. She chambered another round. We're going back. Ryan looked at the burning facility. The whole mountain is collapsing. Emma started running. So are we. Emma tightened the strap on her rifle and continued climbing through the freezing snow. Every step became harder as the wind pushed against her body. Ryan limped beside her, breathing heavily after the long run across the ridge. Neither of them knew that a silent drone was following from high above. Inside the command center of Black Ridge, Victor Kane watched a live thermal image. The red outline of two people moved slowly across the mountain. He smiled. She thinks she's disappearing. One of his officers looked at the screen. Should we send everyone? Victor shook his head. No. I want her alive. She's too valuable. The officer nodded. Within seconds, 12 mercenaries left the compound carrying snowmobiles and tracking equipment. Back on the mountain, Emma suddenly stopped. Ryan almost walked into her. What happened? She slowly knelt beside a broken tree branch. It wasn't broken by the wind. Ryan looked closer. Fresh boot prints. Not military boots. Mercenary boots. They're already here. Emma looked around the silent forest. They're hunting us. A radio message interrupted them. Emma, this is Colonel Hayes. We're inside the lower research level. Resistance is increasing. Emma answered immediately. Have you located Dr. Mercer? Negative. We found empty medical rooms. And something else. What? A laboratory. Ryan looked at Emma. What kind of laboratory? Colonel Hayes took a deep breath. There are dozens of biological containers. Most are empty. Sarah Nolan's voice suddenly joined the radio. Colonel. Everyone heard fear in her voice. I've found patient records. What do they say? They weren't creating medicine. Silence. They were testing it. Emma felt her stomach tighten. Sarah continued reading. Human trials. Respiratory agents. Immune response experiments. Ryan whispered, my God. Colonel Hayes closed the folder. Stay focused. Our priority is Mercer. Suddenly the lights inside the underground facility went out. Darkness covered every hallway. Emergency red lights slowly turned on. An alarm echoed throughout the building. A calm voice filled every speaker. Welcome. It was Victor Kane. I've been waiting for you. Every operator immediately aimed their weapons. Victor continued speaking. You've already seen enough to understand why your government wants this place destroyed. Colonel Hayes ignored the message. Keep moving. Team Alpha entered another corridor. The walls became cleaner. Newer. Modern security cameras watched every corner. Sarah noticed fresh blood on the floor. It leads this way. The team followed the trail. Several meters later they reached a reinforced steel door. It stood slightly open. Inside, medical equipment was scattered everywhere. Broken computers. Destroyed laboratory glass. A hospital bed. Fresh blood. But no patient. Sarah examined the room carefully. He was here recently. One operator discovered a small recorder lying beneath the bed. Colonel Hayes pressed play. A weak voice filled the room. If anyone finds this. I am Dr. Adrian Mercer. My research was never meant to become a weapon. They forced me to continue. They killed everyone who refused. If you're hearing this, do not let Victor Kane leave these mountains. The recording ended. Nobody spoke. Ryan's voice suddenly came over the radio. Emma. I think we're in trouble. She turned. Several tiny red lights appeared between the trees. Laser sights. More than 10. Emma instantly pulled Ryan behind a rock. Gunfire exploded around them. Bullets shattered branches above their heads. Snow sprayed into the air. They found us. Ryan shouted. Emma fired once. One laser disappeared. Then another. But more kept appearing. The mercenaries spread through the forest. They weren't rushing. They were surrounding them. Emma realized the truth. They're hurting us. Ryan understood. Toward the cliff. Exactly. Emma quickly looked behind them. Only 30 meters remained before the mountain ended in a steep drop. There was nowhere else to go. One mercenary shouted, "Drop your weapons." Another voice echoed, "We only want the sniper." Emma smiled. That's not happening. She threw a smoke grenade. White smoke filled the forest. Ryan immediately understood the plan. The two soldiers ran in opposite directions. Mercenaries opened fire at both moving shadows. Emma climbed higher through the rocks. Ryan moved lower toward the frozen stream. The enemy split into two groups. Exactly what Emma wanted. She climbed onto a large boulder overlooking the valley. One mercenary appeared below. She fired. He dropped instantly. Another rushed toward cover. Second shot. Another target fell. The remaining mercenaries finally realized she had reached the high ground. They returned heavy fire. Bullets struck the rocks around her. Ryan quietly moved behind them. He picked up his rifle. One careful shot. A mercenary collapsed. Then another. Now the hunters had become the hunted. Within minutes the surviving mercenaries retreated deeper into the forest. Ryan laughed while catching his breath. I think they're tired of chasing us. Emma smiled for the first time. They'll be back. Meanwhile, deep underground. Colonel Hayes finally reached the central laboratory. Massive steel doors slowly opened. The room inside looked untouched. Bright lights. Modern computers. Rows of sealed containers. At the center stood Victor Kane. Alone. He calmly clapped his hands. I must admit. You've come farther than expected. Every operator aimed at him. Hands where I can see them. Victor raised both hands. I surrender. Nobody moved. Sarah whispered, something's wrong. Victor smiled wider. Very good. Without warning, the floor beneath Team Alpha exploded upward. Hidden flash charges filled the room with blinding white light. Several operators fell. Smoke covered everything. Automatic gunfire erupted from hidden walls. Victor disappeared. Colonel Hayes rolled behind a steel table. Ambush. Operators returned fire. Glass shattered. Sparks filled the laboratory. Sarah crawled toward a wounded teammate. Blood covered his shoulder. She quickly applied a bandage while bullets struck nearby equipment. Colonel Hayes spotted Victor running toward another security door. He fired twice. The bullets struck the wall inches behind him. Victor escaped. The heavy door slammed shut. Automatic locks engaged. The laboratory became silent. One operator checked the exit. It's sealed. Sarah looked around the room. Colonel. He turned. She pointed toward a large computer screen. A countdown had started. 9:58. What is that? One technician examined the display. It's a self-destruct sequence. Everyone looked at the screen. 9 minutes. The entire underground facility would soon be destroyed. Colonel Hayes grabbed the radio. Emma, we found Mercer? No. But we've got something worse. What? The entire mountain is about to explode. Emma looked toward the distant research center. Smoke was already rising from underground ventilation shafts. Ryan stared in disbelief. If that countdown is real. Emma finished the sentence. Everyone inside dies. She chambered another round. We're going back. Ryan looked at the burning facility. The whole mountain is collapsing. Emma started running. So are we. Emma and Ryan raced toward the research center as explosions echoed beneath the frozen mountain. Neither of them knew. The biggest secret was still waiting below. Colonel Daniel Hayes looked around the laboratory. Smoke drifted through broken glass, and sparks rained from damaged electrical panels. We don't have much time, he said. Find Mercer. Find the research drive. Then we get out. The team split into two groups. Sarah Nolan followed fresh footprints.